Hello and welcome to Mind Mutter Matters. My name is John Usher from mindmuttermatters.com. I invite you to join me as we explore our inner voice and the inevitability of identity and all that brings with it. And a special welcome to the very first podcast of Mind Mutter Matters. So I may stumble and fall through it a little bit, and I do apologize for that. But I'm new at it, and I'll get better as it goes along. The first thing that I do want to apologize for is the quality of sound. So in doing all the research to get up and running, I spoke to lots of people, and they said get the best sound equipment and sound studio, sound deadening material, you don't have the reverb and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, this process also has to work for me. So I've got a very nice microphone. I'm very happy with it, but I am just recording on my laptop using the laptop's voice recorder. And I record in the room that I happen to be in at the time. So, I live in Middelburg and Mpumalanga in South Africa, so out in the rurals. And I travel a lot. So my recording setup had to work for me. And I hope to goodness to be able to improve my situation as I go forward. So as you heard, my name is John, and I do accredited training. I do train the trainer courses all around the country of South Africa. It's SACWA accredited courses, and that's what I do in essence to, pay bills kind of thing. And then I'm also a vision coach and a thinking thumbprint facilitator. The accredited stuff I do on behalf of other companies. I'm a consultant trainer for other companies. The vision coaching, thinking thumbprint facilitation is my own. It's my own. So, and it connects very strongly to the Mind Mutter and what it is and what it's about and how it works and how we manage it and all those kinds of things, which is what I want to discuss going forward in these podcasts. The podcasts will be as regular as I can make them. I'm expecting to do 2 a month, and in that way I will get you up to speed in terms of what exactly Mind Mutter is and how it affects the inevitability of our identity. And it's a subject I absolutely love. I love it. It's absolutely powerful stuff. For all of those that are truth seekers, are about finding their awareness, a greater sense of consciousness, or a mindfulness, understanding your own Mind Mutter and understanding the inevitability of identity, understanding the I am is central to awareness, to change, to growth, to personal development. So let's hop into, in terms of answering the question straight off the cuff, what exactly is Mind Mutter? What is it? What is it about? Why have I named the website and half my business Mind Mutter Matters? And it's as simple as this. Mind Mutter is an internal affirmation system that's inherent in everybody. It works in all of us. For the majority of people, their inner voice, their inner conversation is a negative voice. And many people's experience with Mind Mutter is the fact that it is negative and critical and condemning. Yours truly has also experienced the negative side effects or the negative consequences of a nasty Mind Mutter. And I've lived to tell the story. Yay! And I hope that through these podcasts that I'll be able to give you some sense on how you can find a balance with your Mind Mutter in order to use it in a more positive, in a more productive and more creative way. Because in essence, our Mind Mutter is a powerful, positive, creative force. What? Most people hear me say that for the first time and they're like, no, that's not their experience. And I agree. For the majority of people, their experience around their inner voice is very negative. So in essence, let's look at 3 specific questions in this podcast. Number 1, why Mind Mutter? Number 2, what exactly is it? And number 3 is about the purpose of Mind Mutter. Why do we have Mind Mutter? What's its function? So let's start off number 1. It started for me many years ago as a youngster, in fact. And my first job, I was a youth worker. I helped young people, almost like a welfare worker, So we had a coffee bar in our local town, and it was a safe haven for young people to come, do homework after school, and if they needed to have deep conversations, meaningful conversations, or if they needed help. In that time, I discovered that not only the young people of that time, but also myself, I had a very negative self-talk. I had a very negative inner voice. And irrespective of what people were telling me from the outside, irrespective of the evidence to the contrary, my life for me was heavy, difficult. It was a burden for me. On the basis that every good thing that happened to me was counteracted by a negative mind matter. If I got into a relationship with a fantastic lady at the time, and immediately the mind matter told me I was worthless, I wasn't worthy of her love, the relationship wouldn't last, and inevitably that relationship didn't last. It was cut short. And it was cut short because the mind matter, the inner voice, actually became a self-fulfilling prophecy for me. The things that were said were it was prophetic in a way that I believed it to the point where I made it a reality in my life. And that's an important point, and we'll look at that again a little bit later. So, what is mind matter? Where does it come from? How does it work? A lot of people, when I mention mind matter, they want to cast it out as a demon. They want to chase it away. They want to suppress it. They want to switch it off. And I just want to say, inevitably, you cannot do any of those. That's not possible. Mind matter is a part of who you are. You cannot turn it off. You cannot shut it up. You cannot cast it out. You cannot remove it from your mind. It is a fundamental part of who you are. Why do I say that? In our lives, we play various roles. So, for example, I'm John the son, I'm John the brother, I'm John the friend, I'm John the businessman, I'm John the dad, John the life partner. So I'm in all of these relationships, and each one has got an identity of its own. But each identity is laden with values and beliefs and behaviors and skills, and they have a time. There's a time allocated for expression of each. So when I'm with my siblings, I am John the brother. So the environment kind of dictates to me when that role comes into play. The important thing about these roles is that they are laden with values and beliefs. We've had experiences through our lives, and we have a whole load of beliefs packed into these identities. Mind matter for me is and this is partly answering point 3, is the purpose of mind matter, but we will talk about it more specifically a bit later. The thing with mind matter is it is an automated affirmation system. I believe that affirmations are powerful. They help create the reality that we experience. By constantly talking, by constantly sharing our values and beliefs, by constantly sharing what we think, mind matter is helping us create our reality. With that said, a lot of people's negative mind matter is as a direct consequence of the identities that they have. And I know you don't want to hear that. I didn't want to hear that. It's a tough pill to swallow. It's a bitter pill, not a tough pill. It's a bitter pill to swallow. That my mind matter is as a direct consequence of the identities that I have. Directly related to the way I view myself, to the way I view my value in these various relationships, identities, and roles that I have in my life. Mind matter in itself is both a blessing of sorts and a curse of sorts. The curse is the fact that if you are leaving your identities to haphazardly develop, if you neglect to work on your identities, bring them into your consciousness so that you can groom them, shape them, polish them, to what it is you want out of life, that you are intentionally working on those identities. By not doing that, then those identities evolve the way they want. And normally, just the way life is, it has negative experiences. So Mind Mutter then picks that up and broadcasts it. Automatically picks it up and starts sharing the fact that we've got this negative identity. We've got these negative emotions, negative belief systems intrinsically involved within our identities. And that's not necessarily a great thing. That's a painful thing to deal with. It results in the creation of more negativity in our lives, because now the Mind Mutter is this affirmation that is helping shape the world around us. And we will talk about that in a future podcast, just how affirmation creates our world. So the fact that it is broadcasting this negativity all the time is what shapes our reality. So we don't like Mind Mutter because we think it's the negative one. That's like watching a bad show on television and blaming the set and saying that the instrument is evil, the instrument is bad. Mind Mutter is purely a tool. It's neither negative nor positive. It merely executes its function, and it does it flawlessly. And that's its purpose. It must flawlessly communicate our identities that are emotionally laden. So the advantage to that is if you then consciously become aware of your Mind Mutter and decide to focus on it and construct one to achieve the outcome that you want, boom, you've got this automated affirmation system that absolutely works in your favor. By going to the website www.mindmuttermatters.com, and in future podcasts I'll actually share the tools and techniques with you on how to use Mind Mutter to your advantage. That's just a long conversation to do in our very first podcast. So in brief, that's what we have. Number one, why Mind Mutter? Because it is a powerful intrinsic force that shapes our reality. What is Mind Mutter? It is an automated affirmation system that helps shape our reality. What is the purpose of that Mind Mutter? Is to help create our reality. It takes what our identity is and it broadcasts us. So in the introduction, we talk about Mind Mutter, that we're going to explore the inner voice and the inevitability of identity, and that's the emphasis here. The Mind Mutter is emphasizing the fact that the identity you choose will produce after its own kind, and that's inevitable. It's absolutely inevitable. It's a topic that we don't really talk about in personal development. In consciousness, people don't really talk about their own identities. I feel the mistake that a lot of people are making about consciousness and spirituality is that they are so focused on becoming spirit. They want to move into the spiritual realm that they are neglecting their bodies. They are neglecting this physical realm. As far as I'm concerned, we have two purposes. There's a general purpose and there is a specific purpose. Our general purpose is to make manifest the will and gift of God on this earth. And we have a specific calling where God has placed in us a part of Him. So whether you're talking God or universe or consciousness, all the same thing. I just choose to call it God. God has placed within us a part, a gift that needs to be manifest. So we will manifest the general for the greater good, and we will manifest the specific. The specific purpose is then to serve not only others but also ourselves. Now, some people are a hit and a miss in terms of the general and their specific purpose because they've not sat down and tailored their identities to the outcome that they desire. And Mind Mutter is it's communicating it, and it has created this world, this reality, according to your identity, and you're not happy with it. I'm sorry. I really am sorry. The reality is you are going to have to pick an identity that will give you the reality that you want, will give you the outcome that you want. And Mind Mutter will do the rest. I think that is so exciting. It is so exciting to me that we have this innate ability through affirmation system to create our own world. Yes, for a lot of people it's got its negative side. For me, it's about the ease and joy with which we can create the world that we want for ourselves. We can create the life that we want for ourselves. If our identity is inevitable, then that means what we're choosing as our identity is going to happen. I liken it to a seed. If I asked you the question, where does a tree get its identity from? You're going to say from the seed. And the seed in the right environment is what produces the tree. So if you take an acorn, or if you take a tomato bush seed and you plant them in the ground close to each other, they are going to, after a short period of time, they're going to break through the ground and they are going to follow their DNA structure. The acorn is going to become an oak tree. The tomato seed is going to grow a bush, which will inevitably produce tomatoes. They absorb the same nutrients from their environment, but they use it differently according to the DNA structure that they have. The energy that they have dictates the result. And that's the same with our identity. Our identity is the seed, and as we absorb the nutrients, as we interact in our conducive environment, it is inevitable that we produce after that identity. We will produce after the likeness of that identity. It's inevitable. It is absolutely inevitable. And I want to say, in essence, it's effortless. The effort should be in defining the DNA of the seed. It is about sitting down and making sure you have the right identity, specifically designed for the outcome that you want. And then you let it happen. I'm not saying you don't do anything. I'm not saying you're going to sit around and life is just going to happen. But the ease with which the growth and development comes, the ease with which the opportunities will arise is astounding. It's shocking. It's pleasurable. It is the way I understand grace and glory to be. That's what excites me about Mind Mutter. That's what excites me about the I am and the inevitability of identity. That's what we've got for today. If you've liked this podcast, please help me grow this channel. Click like, leave me a comment, subscribe, share this podcast with others that may be seeking to understand their inner voice, as well as searching more about their identity. You are welcome to search for more on mindmuttermatters.com or johnusher.com. And I hope to see you next time. Keep it real. Bye now.